I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Summer.
And you're listening to Broke and Broken.
Because we're both.
The podcast about living your best life by getting real.
Hey, broken people. This is Summer. Unfortunately, Stephanie is out sick today. She's having some medical issues, so you've just got me. And today I interviewed Kendra Wilson-Clements. She's an amazing woman. I met her several years ago. We do a lot of community work together. And so I won't keep you too long since I don't have Stephanie here to chatter with. But I did want to mention Kendra and I talk about Matriarch. And I know that most of our listeners don't have a frame of reference for that. Matriarch is a group. It started in Oklahoma City, now has a satellite chapter out at Tulsa. And it's a group that's aimed to provide relevant services and empowerment for Indigenous women. The goal is to help change some of the problems that we're facing in Indian country by empowering our women and helping us improve our lives in order to make that impact at a grassroots level. And the program's been going 3 years. It has made an amazing difference in the lives of so many already, and I expect it to just continue growing. I teach some of the workshops and do mentoring, as well as being a member and learning and benefiting from these other women, and it's really an incredible program because there is a lack of culturally relevant resources for marginalized communities, and this is just kind of helping fill that gap, particularly for urban natives who are having to live far away from their own people. So without further ado, we'll move on to Kendra. So today we have Kendra, so thank you for being here, Kendra. And introduce yourself for us, please, while I untangle the microphone wire.
Kendra Wilson-Clements.
Oh my God.
We're having a good time here.
It's always fun when I'm around.
Me too.
Interesting people can never be bored. See, that's...
Of course. That's why we get along so well.
Exactly. So how long have we known each other, Kendra? It's been a few years now,
It's been several years. Let's see here. Matriarch? Was that our first introduction to Matriarch or before that?
I don't know. Maybe but right before that.
Okay.
I don't know, around there, though.
Sure. 4 years?
It's been a while, yeah. Do a lot of community work.
Absolutely. We do indeed.
So what is it that you do, Kendra?
I am a entrepreneur business owner. I have a small business consulting firm called We the People. And what I do is basically I help small businesses in Indian country grow. So businesses that are in turmoil or cannot grow themselves, I go in and help them grow.
Okay, so you mentioned Indian country. I guess we should tell people we have another Choctaw woman here.
Yes.
This seems to be a theme. I've had quite a few Choctaw women on here. People are going to think that's the only people I know.
We're everywhere. This is the deal.
There's a lot of us. We're taking over the world.
Yes,
You've been warned.
A member of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk to you about that I've been searching for a guest to come on to talk about is incarceration.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always baffled when I meet people who've never known anyone to be incarcerated, because I was grown before I knew that was possible for a grown man to have never been to jail.
Right.
Because that's just my reality.
Right.
And so I tend to get very upset at the way that people talk about inmates as if they're not human. Yes. And find them as disposable. And so I've been wanting to get somebody who understands this and can talk about it from, the perspective of family. Yes. So that it's not just me preaching.
Yeah, definitely.
So can you kind of tell us your experience with that?
Sure. I guess you could call this a maybe second, third generation incarceration experience. So my grandfather was incarcerated for a time. My dad was incarcerated for bits, just public drunks and such, nothing major. But my brother, my only sibling, has gone through the system several times and has kind of had a revolving, as most have. Has been in and out of the system for 11 years now. 3 times this last stint rather. He was up on a charge 20 years, 7.5 for time served, but somehow because our system is so crowded and packed out, he served 2.5. he got out last June, so June of 2017, and has not done well since being let out. I mean, it's just kind of a system of set up to fail, essentially, with him.
Absolutely.
And I'm watching that firsthand.
That's hard.
Right.
And our system is not designed for rehabilitation at all.
None at all. Right. He, the first 2 times that he was in, of course, it's that whole pipeline, starting with in Lexington, right?
Okay.
Lexington. Then a few days later, maybe a week later, they process to wherever it is they're going to go. He was sent to McAllister, and he has a violent plus drug charge. He is in possession of a weapon. In a drug charge while he was on probation before already, so that just kind of tipped that.
Elevated.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So he was in McAllister for I think about 6 months, and then was transferred to Union City, which is a private minimum security, low security prison, maybe 250. I think that was 250, 300 inmates there, where he stayed out the rest of his sentence. So still on probation, though, of course.
The probation set up the whole racket too. You have the fees, and if you don't pay them,
right.
Yes.
Right.
I had a cousin who ended up going back in because he got a call, and when they call him for the randoms, and you only have so long to go take your test.
Yeah.
So his probation officer called him. You have to go right now. The boss says you leave to go take this.
Yeah.
I'm going to fire you.
Right.
So you've got a choice. Okay, so he leaves to go take it because if he doesn't take the test, then his probation gets revoked. But he now lost his job, so his probation got revoked.
Right.
So there's no winning.
That's exactly right. I mean, what I can say is that, if it weren't for the support of my family, myself and my family, there would be no way that my brother would be able to make those court costs, keep a job. I mean, their employers don't want to let
It's
people
hard to find
off.
a job with a felony.
Right,
It's
exactly.
so hard.
And then there's that. It's finding a job if you have a felony. No one wants to hire you. But if you do find an employer who will hire you and take that chance, they get pissed off that you got to take off, and they pull your card number, and then, oh, by the way, your probation officer has to come to your house, and they're not going to tell you what time they come, so you end up having to take off all day long potentially.
Right.
So it's just I've just watched this firsthand, and it's disheartening, it's frustrating, it's frightening, and it is one hell of a moneymaker. I'll see that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
one of the biggest businesses I've seen.
It is. I
in
mean,
Oklahoma.
they make money while you're in there. They make money when you're out. They
it's
make
like
money on the plea deals to keep you out.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, oil and gas, they say, is our first industry here. I'm not real sure that that's the deal. I feel as if our prison system is maybe ranked number 1. It's arguable. So.
I think it's arguable. That's what the motivation was for part of the push against the marijuana reform laws.
Oh, absolutely.
Because,
yeah,
if you decriminalize, then that's fewer people going into that pipeline.
That's exactly right. Right. Yeah, and in talking about that was really my brother's first stay. He got caught with a bag of marijuana, and he was in county for, good Lord, they had him in there for about 3 months.
Wow.
And he came back and told me, this is the first time, so this is about 10, 11 years ago. I didn't hear from him for a while, and we were panicking, kind of like, where the hell is my brother, my mom, where the hell is my son? And we went down to county at one point. We're asking questions like, where's he at, what's going on? And they're like, oh, okay, well, we have found him, we've located him, and he's on the mental health ward on the 13th floor.
Oh, wow.
How long's he been there? He's been there for 3 weeks. Why haven't we heard from him? So, in addition to a terrible addiction that my brother has battled for almost 25 years now, his mental health, which of course those go hand in hand. He suffers pretty terribly with mental health issues, but was up on the mental health ward for 3 weeks, and we were trying to track him down. Where's he at? Is he dead? Where is he? Couldn't get any answers until we went there. And the deal was, well, he's been sedated such that he couldn't, make phone calls, couldn't, but they don't call you, and they don't call family, and they don't notify you, and I don't know, that was our first experience with Oklahoma County, which is just, it's terrible. Second stay in there, he was there for about 6 months, and this was at a time, and Oklahoma County had, they were on the news almost nearly every day for deaths, inmate deaths,
Yes, they have a terrible
sewage,
track record.
plumbing, kind of the ceiling fell out on one of their floors. My brother happened to be on the floor above the one that fell. They were eating outside, having to serve food outside. It was the middle of summer, like 100 and something degrees, because the cafeteria had flooded. They were sleeping in these things called boats, I guess.
What's that?
It's basically like just this cot on the ground, but wasn't, propped up. So that's kind of when I started learning, you hear that from a person who has really no reason to tell you that it is a certain way when it's not. There's no reason to lie about that kind of stuff, but really just learning about the conditions and how they treat. These are human beings. I don't care what they've done, but it's just, that kind of got my attention, and really my fire and advocacy for incarceration and prisoners and how we treat them here.
Yes, I was I went against my own advice and read the comments on a news article the other day. Never read the comments section ever.
No.
And it was about
I know my limit.
the prisons in Texas that not having air conditioning, and it's triple digits.
Yeah,
and it's awful. And some of the comments on there, well, they shouldn't have committed a crime.
It's unbelievable.
For real.
Right.
Right.
These are still human beings.
They're still people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And secondly, do people not understand that when you treat people inhumanely, when most inmates will be released at some point.
Right.
They have to be able to function, and or people have I don't know. People make no sense.
Right. Well, and it's a human being first and foremost, but 9.9 times out of 10, I obviously don't know the statistic here, but we've got mental health, which is
absolutely, and it's not treated
not at
properly
all,
in this country
not at all, and especially even when they're in that system. My brother absolutely was not getting the mental health attention that he needed, nor was he getting the treatment for his addiction. And so what was interesting was this third time around, when he was in McAllister, and actually, so it travels from here's this state, prison, and then we're going to send you off to Union City, which is a private prison. But they have such limited resources there that it literally comes down to, do you want a job, or at the same time that you could be working, we're going to give you a couple of these AA programs or addiction recovery programs. Like, which one do you want? So there's not enough resources, money, or care, give a shits really, to allow them to work and to work a program, because they need both. They can't. And so of course my brother, he's like, no, I want to work because I want to get the hell out of here. They put him to work in a field. He was doing some farm work in McAllister, but he's not getting issues. Yeah, he's not getting any recovery treatment. Same situation with Union City. It's, hey, we can get you out of here during the day and you can go work for Department of Forestry, or you can stay here during the day and you have access to a therapist and you have access to AA meetings. What do you want? Well, who doesn't want to get the hell out of there, right? That's mental health too, right? I need to get out of these four walls I've got these issues. I want to get out of here because I'm not feeling so good. But oh, by the way, I can't. If I do that, then I'm kind of being punished, and I can't get my treatment. So it's just been. Ugh.
So his mental health issues, I don't know what they are. Are they something that he needs medication for?
Absolutely.
Does he get proper medication when he's incarcerated?
No,
Probably
he does not.
Right?
No, he does not. So the time that I talked about when he was up on the 13th floor, like missing for weeks, and then here he is in the mental health ward. When we finally were able to connect with him on the phone, he was. It literally, it sounded like he was intoxicated. He was so heavily sedated. They did not have his. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but all I had to do was hear him. Right. He was not making sense. The sentences were, it's like words were jumbled. And that went on for weeks. And so it wasn't just that it was a fresh, oops, we gave you too much because you were, having a bad behavior day or something. Right. It was a constant flow of over medication, right?
If we keep you zombified, we don't have to deal with you.
That's exactly right. Yeah, if you just lie there, if you're sleeping, great. We don't have to deal with you. We may not even have to feed you. I mean, it's and you don't have to have calls. We don't have to it's just, that's absolutely what it was. Same thing in Union City. Albeit he wasn't sedated, but he certainly wasn't being treated for anxiety. So he's got horrible anxiety. He's got an anxiety disorder, bipolar, schizoaffective disorder, and a sleep disorder. And so the sleep disorder and the anxiety disorders went untreated because the medications that they typically will prescribe for those are narcotics, and they don't obviously give those in prison. So
is that the underlying issue with most of his substance abuse problems? Is
that's kind of chicken and egg stuff. It's like, what comes first? Is it the mental health stuff that sparks the addiction, or is it the addiction that sparks the?
It becomes this dynamic cycle.
What is
it? Really does.
Yeah, what's first? Yeah. And I've actually, the past 25 years with him, I've seen both. I see where the mental health is starting to decline, and he's sober, and then he uses. But then I've also seen him using, and the mental health
triggers the mental
quick decline. Yeah. Typically, hallucinations and such.
Oh, wow.
It's a terrible decline.
Mm-hmm. It happens fast, doesn't it?
Really quickly. Yeah.
And that's hard on the whole family.
Yeah, those issues are not, pick one. Substance abuse in and of itself, addiction, that is hard on the family. That's like enough, right?
Right.
And then you add mental health, that isolated thing, that's enough. And then you add the incarceration piece, and it's like, wow, it's my family and I. We've kind of, we've gone up and down, and we've split apart, and we've come together and split apart and come together. There's been a lot of hard feelings and fear and anger and sadness, and it's hard. It's very difficult on a family.
Yeah, the family serves time with them.
Oh, absolutely, certainly so. I know.
I have so much to say, but I'm like, I can't say that because that will identify this person, and they'll be mad at me. I have so much experience with all of this with people.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time last year helping a friend, and then I didn't hear from him. He relapsed, and then I didn't hear from him from March until a few days ago. He's literally, because I got to where I would send him a text message about once a month, just let him know I'm still here if you need something. And he finally answers a message that I sent literally a month before, as if I had just sent it. I'm like, you don't have to lie. Like, you can just say hi. It's fine.
You don't have to lie. Because we know when that happens. It's like, oh, I just saw your text. Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, from a month ago. You've probably had 15 people in your text queue before me who had to search for that.
Right.
But sure,
Right.
so I just went along and
Yeah.
answered it. But yeah,
That's same.
So
That's
he's still alive.
Same.
That's-
Yeah. Yeah. The interesting thing, just with regard to my own brother and watching this whole thing, I mean, so he gets out in June. He goes and lives with my parents for about 45 days and then slips. And he now, his addiction has, he's now a meth user. 45 days in, gets kicked out of their house, and so for some great reason I'm like, well, I'm in recovery, so maybe I can take him in my house and lay down these rules. How ridiculous. Took him
It's
into
good
my
intentions.
house.
That's
Yeah,
what it is.
absolutely, so well intended. I was like, now you're gonna have to go to meetings and we're gonna have to do this program work together. Oh yeah, of course. Well, of course they're gonna say that. So he comes and lives with me for about 3 months, and slipped 3 times, meth. So he gets kicked out of my house in October, and then after that gets kicked out of 3 sober living homes. Can't stay even in a sober living home. Meth. And then
Meth
has
is so hard to kick,
it's terrible. It is a demon, and I am watching this thing just literally. It's stealing his soul. I don't recognize him anymore, not physically but emotionally, and he's spiritually bankrupt, and just it's a scary
It turns
thing.
him into somebody completely different.
It's horrible. I mean, he's spent our Christmas holiday at TRC. Just last week was discharged from the crisis center. Now is trying to go through North Care outpatient program, and so this is all in like a year and a couple of months. But he, there were no programs in prison to help him step into society.
No. And transition programs, even when they come out, are few and far between, and they're hard to get into, and some of them aren't that good.
Yeah.
And rehabs too.
Right.
I have a big problem
Yeah.
with these private religious-based rehabs that have no
Oh.
clinically trained staff. They cause more harm than good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
I think they should be shut down.
Yeah. I 100%.
Come at me with the pitchforks
Yeah.
and torches if you want, but it's wrong and you're hurting people.
Oh, it's absolutely wrong. It's irresponsible.
It is.
Completely irresponsible. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen
it's-
those things in action, and I'm like, nah, you're doing more harm than good. It's terrible.
It is. So you mentioned you're sober now. Can you tell us your story?
I am. Yes, I can. So well, my brother and I, we come from a long and strong
I wish we had done this on video
generation.
so people could see your
Yeah,
expressions. It's
long
great.
and strong. Generation to generation to generation of alcoholism and addiction. On my paternal side, which is my Choctaw side, my great-grandfather, alcoholic. My grandfather, alcoholic. My grandfather also attended boarding school, Goodland Indian Orphanage, as they referred to it at the time.
My uncles live there.
Beautiful.
Some of them.
Yeah. And that, of course, was just a soul stealer.
Oh, it's
So
terrible.
alcohol was certainly an escape for him. My grandmother, she was alcoholic as well. My dad is an alcoholic. My biological father, his sister died of an overdose, heroin
You're
overdose.
like, if I'm not an alcoholic, I won't be part of the family anymore.
Like it would be weird if they may resent me if I were not some sort of an addict. There would be something wrong with me. Yeah, so
Like Marilyn on the Monsters. You're just the strange
I'm
one.
just the strange one. There she is, all sober. Look at her. No, my mom's side of the family, though, they, a little bit of mental health stuff, but not really addiction. So I have literally, first time I drank was the very first time I got drunk, and it was also the very first time I blacked out.
Oh gosh!
And I was
How
13.
much did you drink?
Well, it was a whole lot of peppermint schnapps that I stole from my mom and dad's liquor cabinet.
Wow. You were 13.
13 years old.
Mine was Boone's Farm, Strawberry Hill.
I mean, listen.
I have a bottle in my refrigerator right now because I saw it in the liquor store and I hadn't seen it since then.
Yeah.
So I bought it out of pure nostalgia and I'm afraid to drink it because I remember making a reference about it tasting like cough syrup or something.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it probably tastes awful. I don't want to drink it.
Listen, after
I drank that whole bottle.
I couldn't drink peppermint schnapps after that first time, nor could I smell it. Could I anything? Clearly, it's not a good idea if I drink it now. No one wants to see that. Well, no one wants to see that. So yeah, it was that thing, and it's a true thing. So when you have that addict gene or that alcoholic gene or that drug, whatever gene,
it is,
whatever that is, it literally is. It's that first time you do it, it's like ding, there it is. That's what I've been searching for all this time. And so yeah, alcohol was the deal. And I was a terrible teenager and a terrible it was just terrible. And I've had just literally, it's been, wow. I've got a lot of amends to make, that's for sure. My list
You're like, this stuff's going to take a while.
I'm on that step right now.
are
It's
you?
Step 8.
It's emotionally draining. Isn't it?
Alcoholics Anonymous. And I'm like, I'm going to hang out here for a minute because holy shit, this is long. And things just come to you too. You're like, oh yeah, and then there's that. Damn.
Let's start within the last decade.
Exactly. Gotta work back. God, I don't know. So I got sober on my stepfather's birthday. It was March 11th, 2017. So I've been sober for a year and 5-ish months,
right.
as of a few days from now. And what got me to stop was, I was tired of blowing up my life, and I was tired. I was exhausted, and that's what literally got me kind of crawling into that program, was just despair and exhaustion. And I can't wake up in a parking lot with my car running at 4 o'clock in the morning and not know where the hell I am anymore. Oh, or by the way, I certainly cannot be driving down the road on the wrong side of the road on the highway. Can't do that.
No, let's not do that.
No. So just things like that. I was like, my dad's an older guy. My brother's a disaster. My mom is not well. I have to get my shit together. Like I'm at this point, it got scary, and I was tired. Literally, like exhaustion is what got me into that program.
So did you go find a meeting? Is that one of the first things you did?
No, because I am so smart and so incredibly strong, and so willful.
Stubborn is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, let's just call it what it is. I am a willful asshole. With a gigantic ego.
But we love you.
Yeah. So I thought that it would be a great idea to just stop drinking. And so and not work a program.
Right, you're like, I can just quit. It's fine. Yeah.
So I've been drinking for 30 years. Oh, and by the way, I had stage 3 cirrhosis. And so my health was failing. Yeah, my health was tanking. So yeah, I've got stage 3 cirrhosis, and I'm just gonna quit because I'm strong and smart. It's so stupid.
Says every alcoholic
exactly.
Ever.
So for 5 whole months, I was white knuckling my path of sobriety, and crazier than I had ever been in my entire life, because I took the thing that I've always used for 30 years to cope with shit, right? That's gone.
Your primary coping mechanism, and you didn't replace it with anything.
My whoopee is gone. Your whoopee. My whoopee is gone. But I got this, and didn't. And so it ended up in, I blew my life up sky high, as a sober person, which is unbelievable. But that's also the power of the disease of alcoholism. You may
You
remove
kinda
that drink.
spiral at
God.
first when you first start quitting. You do that spiral.
Batshit crazy.
I usually refer to it as tossing a grenade into your life and just seeing what
Completely,
happens.
yeah.
Because you just blow shit up.
Completely.
And then you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see what I can find
Right.
back.
You pull the pin and you hold it for a minute and you're like, you're looking at it and you go,
Oops.
where should I throw this? And then and then it doesn't go anywhere,
And
and
it
then
just
it blows up in your
everything
face.
up.
Right? You don't throw it in time. So yeah, I completely. I lost my 11-year relationship. I was about to. Well, literally, I was about to lose everything. Had an awesome affair with a married person, which was fun.
As long as it's fun.
Yes, great.
I mean, if you're gonna
life up
have
too.
an affair, it
Right.
should be fun.
Right.
That's my advice.
Well, it should be fun. It should be, blow it sky high in good Kendra fashion. I did do that. So that's how I went out.
Some excitement in
Yeah,
life.
that's how I went out. I took myself out on a high note. But life blew up. It was August 11th, which is so crazy that we're talking now because it's just in a few days from now.
Right.
So August 11th was like D-Day for me. And then on August 12th...
I'm impressed at how you know dates.
Well, listen, these are dates you never, ever forget, right? When those things went down, like those are the things I'll never forget. But yeah, I agreed. Didn't really want to do this, but the person that I was having the affair with said, hey, why don't you come to an AA meeting with me today? And I was like, yeah. In my mind, I had other plans.
Right.
I literally that day, don't know if you've ever seen Leaving Las Vegas
No.
with, oh God. Well, so I was going to do that because
Okay.
it's the only thing I knew. I had a plan that day. I was waiting for the liquor store to open. I was going to drink myself to death that day. Like that's what was going to happen on August 12th. But then the phone rang, and it rang, and it rang, and it rang, and I was just like, I don't want to answer this because I know I don't want to talk to anyone today. I don't. But I finally answered and agreed to go to a meeting, and thank God I did because that was my deal.
Right.
And I had thought about it too. It's this AA meeting that was next door-ish to a liquor store, and I thought about that. I was like, yeah, I can meet her there, and then after that meeting I'm gonna go and load up on bourbon because I'm a bourbon drinker. Yeah, I was like, yeah, okay, if you'll just stop calling and asking, okay,
Right.
Fine, I'll go.
I'll go to shut you up.
Shit, let's go to the damn meeting. But that stepped me into where I'm at today, and haven't had the obsession to drink is gone.
Good.
And I don't have that anymore. But
How's
now
coping with
it's
life?
everything else. It's crazy
good
as
now?
shit. Coping with life.
What do you do now to cope?
Wow. I write. I do have an exercise regimen that if I don't go and work out every morning, then I'm probably not much fun to be around. Like, I guess I have another addiction.
Right.
No. I have to I'm finding ways of, I have to go to a meeting every day. If I
Okay.
don't go to, I'm still in that place where if I don't go to a meeting every day, and I test it sometimes, I'm like, I'm too busy for that. I don't want to. And then the next day, I'm too busy for that. I'm fine today. And then day 3, the committee
Right.
up here.
And you're like, one drink won't hurt.
Yeah, that shit gets loud. So
Yeah.
I have to. It's interesting. Recovery is just this weird, crazy commitment. Like, we have to do all these things in order, because we wake up with a brain every day that's trying to kill us, basically. And so we have things that we have to do so that we can get through the fucking day, which is crazy.
Well, I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, and that's why we keep talking about addiction on
Yeah.
on the podcast.
Yeah.
Is because I hear so many people say, well, you just don't use, or you just don't drink. It doesn't fucking work that way.
No.
It is not that simple.
No, I tried that for 5 months, and
It was a lot of fun, wasn't
wow.
it?
I mean, at the time, I was like, it's fine, you know, like,
you're like lying to yourself.
bombs going
I'm
all
great.
around me. I'm like, this is great. No, it's not. It's terrible, and you look ridiculous, and you are a time bomb.
You're falling apart.
Yeah, you're completely falling apart. Look at you, like you just lost an arm, and you're like,
just
I'm
a flesh
fine,
wound.
just bleeding, you know, like hemorrhaging. No, I'm fine, really. Does anyone have a Band-Aid? You know, so crazy.
I feel like addiction's treated like that though in this in this society, in this country.
Yeah, and you know, since you know being in matriarch, and really plugging into trauma, the generational trauma that we all have as Native people. I have, you know, aside from the Alcoholics Anonymous or the recovery, that process and that program, I'm looking at things even from a completely different, because that doesn't completely fit me.
Right.
AA, it does not connect all my dots for me.
Right.
So the deeper that we go in matriarch, and then the outside work that I'm doing as well, just with regard to generational trauma, shit is connecting for me now. And so I'm kind of having to do this, you know, extra step work to
because that's what we do. We
up.
take on lots of extra work.
Oh, of course. Don't we do that? We're like, oh yeah,
sure,
I'll take that.
All.
Who needs something? Can I help you? Can I take that?
I work 3 jobs, but sure, I'll do a podcast.
Of course. Yeah, you told me you were doing this, and I was like, what?
Well,
when?
I know.
At 2 a.m.?
Yeah,
All right.
I am often up at 1 and 2 a.m.
I mean,
editing audio files.
Of course you are.
And I blame matriarch.
Well, I blame matriarch too.
What happened was, I've had people asking me to write a book for several years now. And I keep telling people, first of all, I'm ADD. I can't write a fucking book.
True.
I can write like a tweet thread, and that's about all I got before I'm off on something else. So I'm like, somebody ghostwrite it for me. Like, sit down and record me, and you can ghostwrite it.
Why not, though?
But nobody wants to put in the work to do that. So I'm like, okay, y'all don't get a book.
You don't get a book then. I mean, if someone doesn't want to, like, you know, help me halfway, then we're not doing this.
So then the idea of podcasting had come up several times with several of these people, because I know a few people who have podcasts, and they kept bringing up this format. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't know how to do any of that shit. I don't know how to edit audio files. And then we're in... And we were in that you were there, weren't you? The last domestic violence and sexual assault
at OU
class that I taught at Matriarch.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where Chelsea's like, he starts talking about doing a podcast. And I'm like, I'm blaming Chelsea for this. Because then I went back and I told Stephanie, who co-hosts this, and she's like, see, it's not just me. We have to do this now. I'm like, oh, damn it. Why did I tell you this?
You do have to do this. I agree. And so, I do remember
that's what happened.
Because I may have that day affirmed that. I may have been like,
yes, all
Summer,
of you turned on me. All of you turned on me. And like, yes, you do need to do this. Like, great.
But this is important work. I mean, because... You know, the behind the scenes stuff is one thing, but it's being able to get it out to, you know, the general public and the people who are listening.
Right. And I kind of felt like, since all of you were saying, yes, you have to, then I'm like, I'd be a little hypocritical, since I just spent a half an hour lecturing everybody on how we have to shift these dialogues.
Yeah, right.
So I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah, I
That's
guess
what
I'll
we'll do.
Sign up for this for a little while.
So I learned how to edit audio files badly.
But you know how to do
I'm learning.
Yeah. You know
if you listen to the episodes, you can tell it's like choppy sometimes. I'm like, fuck it. This is not a professional broadcast.
Right.
Y'all don't like it, somebody volunteer to help.
Hey, I like that though. That's like the, you know, it's like indie films and stuff, like the shoestring budget. Come on, love it.
Like, you get whatever my coffee can give you at 1 a.m.
Exactly, whatever time it is, what kind of mood I'm in, this is what you get.
And I'm authentically me, making terrible jokes about things that you probably shouldn't joke about.
No.
But that's how I deal with life.
But me too, though. Like, addiction and my ridiculous behavior and the things that happen, I mean, you gotta don't you have to laugh about that? I mean,
I have to, or I'll lose my damn mind.
Yeah. I mean, I would be depressed, and that doesn't suit me well.
No.
So, I don't know. This has been fun. I like this. So.
Have you listened to any of our episodes yet?
I have. I listened I listened
listen
to, was it like maybe your second one? You sent me.
Was that Priya?
Yep.
Yes.
I love her.
Did you hear her PSA? That was my favorite at the end of her episode.
No.
We talk about women's health and everything, and then because we had to record. Priya was the first interview I recorded, actually.
Okay.
And we had a little technical difficulty and lost all but 5 minutes of her audio.
You did?
Yes. So then we had to re-record. So we ended up coming out with like 2 hours. She loved it. She thought it was great. She's like, yes, I want to do this again.
Right. Can we lose this again?
So we ended up with like 2 hours worth of audio because we just sat at my kitchen table talking forever.
I love that.
And so there's all this serious discussion about like women's health, and we talked about pride, and we talked about lots of different stuff. And at some point, I just lost control of what was happening. And she gets in the microphone. She's like, "Attention! This is a PSA. You men can't find the G spot for shit."
I mean,
we ended up in this long conversation about sex toys and how what men should be doing that they don't know what they're doing.
And you got to pay attention, right?
Right. I ended up having to cut some of it, but I left the good parts in there.
I mean, well, so I don't have that issue or concern. I think I mentioned,
I don't think you've mentioned that on here yet.
Oh,
so
yeah.
The listeners don't know.
I've been with women for, let's see here. My first crush, I was 4 years old.
4.
My babysitter, her name was Trish, and I went to my neighbor's yard every time she would come to babysit my brother and I would pick their flowers.
Aww.
And I would take them to her and I would write her some poem with like
God.
crayons. Like I was serious.
Very expressive 4-year-old.
I like older women apparently.
You still like older women? You still like them older?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe. I mean, it depends on how old here. Like a couple years, I guess I'm not like a spring chicken or anything. But yeah, I do. Yeah.
So did you ever date men, or is it all
I did.
Women?
I tried real hard to make that work. So I should get.
It really doesn't work
some
if you're having
sort
to try.
I tried so hard. So now that I think about it, so I was sexualized at a really, really early age. I lost my virginity when I was 13, which is just craziness.
I was 14.
Okay.
I regret nothing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just like that happened, and I was like, okay. So 13 was a big year for me, like losing my virginity. And
why is it all connected to when we started drinking?
Exactly. Well, exactly. And I was like, well, maybe that's why I was a drunk, because I tried to be with guys, and it just wasn't working. I don't.
will drive you to drink.
I mean, maybe that's what it was.
So why were you trying? How long did you try to be with guys?
So for 4 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Isn't it? Like 4 years and 7 guys. I kept trying. I was like, oh no, ooh no, oh no.
Why did you keep trying? Were you just trying to figure out where you were? I
kept trying because I was like, maybe it's the guy's fault. Like maybe, I don't like that.
So you hadn't quite.
Yeah, it just wasn't a connection. There was no physical connection. I was like, this is like round hole square peg, but no, not really.
Not
exactly. But that's what it felt like.
I just don't want the peg.
Weird. Exactly. This is so strange. And your body is hard, and you have hair under your arms, and ew, I don't like this. And so at 17, I literally 1 month after I graduated high school,
they get hairier as they get older.
Well, yeah, exactly. Which, man, I cannot.
I have a whole rant about that.
I mean, listen, I got with my first girlfriend a month out of graduating from high school, and it was like the fucking angels were singing. Aww. When that happened, I was like, oh,
I finally figured this out.
Yeah, I always liked my best friend, and I always thought she was real pretty, so then it all started connecting. Yeah.
Okay.
And of course I grew up in a time where it was not like it is now. Kids now at like 10, 11 are like, yeah, I think I'm a lesbian. It's like, what?
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
Yeah,
nobody came
craziness.
out at those
I love
ages
it.
when I was young.
Oh my God, no. I mean, I always knew I always knew from 4, from writing my babysitter Trish poems with crayons. I always knew.
Sweet.
I mean, come on. I always knew it was different.
Very expressive for a 4-year-old.
Oh my God,
That's
always,
adorable.
always. And I'm sure she would get those and be like, what the fuck?
You're 4.
Okay, you're 4 and you're telling me how pretty my eyes are. Well, that's sweet.
And a little bit.
Right. She didn't babysit for us too long, though. I remember being,
You made her uncomfortable.
I guess I was like sexually harassing her at 4. How embarrassing. Which actually makes sense for the rest of my, days. That harassment, those skills, man, I got them down. Broken lady hearts all over the place. It's just terrible. God. Which is why, I'm back on this 8-step thing here. I am again.
Right.
I gotta make the amends.
You gotta go make amends.
Man. Shit.
Do you have to sit down and make a list?
Yeah, I made the list the other day. I was like, all right, I gotta extract this. I gotta get this out. I gotta do this. I gotta
Then
keep
when it
moving
spills
forward.
over to several pages, you start panicking?
Well, yeah. Yes, and then it's like, oh, damn, shit, I forgot about her, and oh man, I forgot about that. And,
right.
It's just this, so it's kind of depressing in a sense. It doesn't make you feel great about
I have to call
yourself,
my sister. She remembers more than I do. She's like, no, you forgot that one.
Yeah.
That one. I'm like, damn.
Thanks. Did I forget that one? Thanks. I was trying to forget that one. But thank you.
If I don't remember his name, it doesn't count.
Thank you for your help. Thank you for your help. Yeah. No. So yeah.
Very
no.
helpful.
Yeah. So since 17, that was it for boys. I'm like, yeah, I'm done with you boys. You can't find the G spot.
No kidding.
No. Okay.
I've been having sex for more than, I don't know how old I am off the top of my head, but more than 20 years.
Yeah.
In all that time.
God.
I swear to God, I've only been with one man who could find it and knew what to do with it.
I mean,
without instruction.
Because there it is. You finding it is one thing, but doing something with it is a completely other thing.
Yes.
Like you have to do both, right? It's
and I'm not trying. I'm
step
not trying
2.
to teach you here. Like I don't have
No.
time for that shit.
No, no, this is not sex ed class.
No.
Like I expect you to already have that shit down.
Right. Otherwise, you just don't get to come back for a repeat performance.
You don't.
I am that mean.
I won't call you again.
No, I'm awful. Like I ghost people. Like I don't even tell them I'm not going to see you again. I just block your fucking number, and you never hear from me again.
But yes, yeah.
I'm awful. I know.
Careful not to get into a program like I'm in, because you will have to.
I will. I'll have to go back through.
You'll have to remember
like I
that
said,
stuff.
I'll have to call Vicky and be like, okay, so
yeah,
we're gonna start with last month.
Yeah, I'm there.
Work backwards.
Like, great, this is so awesome. But I gotta work those steps. I gotta stay sober.
Those steps are important.
Yeah, they are. It's all getting through those are the things that keep me sober. So I gotta do it.
Well, you're doing good though.
Thank you.
Almost at a year and a half.
Almost at a year and a half. Yeah, it's crazy because sometimes I'll sit in meetings and I hear people say things like, yeah, I had 15 years sobriety and one day I just went and got fucked up. And that shit scares me to death. But it also is, it's that reminder that it's a serious, it's a serious disease. It's serious shit. There's only a few that will ever remain sober too. So the odds, it's like 1 in 10 that aren't gonna continually, slip. Which that shit scares me. I'm a super. I'm a high risk individual, high adrenaline, always have been, and do not scare easily. I never have. Nothing at all ever really scared me, but that does. Like slipping, that scares the shit out of me, because what I know is that the disease of addiction or alcoholism it's progressive, right? So right. I haven't had a drop to drink in a year in 5 months. But if I go out and drink again, I mean, it's that progression. Like my bottom is going to be lower than I ever, if I make it out of it. And that's my deal, is that, would I know to stop? Would I? stop.
Right.
So I don't know. This has been a crazy fucking journey. That's for sure.
I like that you're so open about it. I think that's important.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a anonymous Alcoholics Anonymous. It is an anonymous program, but and there are some, folks in there with a whole lot of sobriety that have been in the program for 20, 30 years might look down on what I'm doing right now, which I don't care.
Right.
I kind of, if I can help someone, or I'm gonna tell about it. I mean, it's something that it's a huge hurdle, and it almost fucking killed me, and so I kind of have a duty to talk about it, because if I can reach one person, then I've done my job, and I feel like I have the gift of a horrifying story that I have to get that out and share it, because so does a whole lot of other people. And so, yeah, talking about all the shit is, I think I said it to you in a text. I'm like, I'm an open book.
Yes, you know? An open book.
Because I know that if I were, hanging on by a string, and if I were to hear that, then it may give me hope. It may give me a resource. It may give me something, motivation to do something other than what I'm doing, or who knows. So that's why I'm open about this stuff.
It's good.
I think it's important to talk about it.
Right.
And I'm not ashamed of it.
That's what the podcast is about too. Help people be less ashamed and feel less isolated.
Right.
Because we're all human and we all deal with shit.
Well, yeah.
And it's time we stop being ashamed of it and hiding it and dealing with all the stigma, because that doesn't help anybody.
Right. That's exactly right. You said the word, and it's stigma. And I'm like, fuck some stigma. Stigma is just, it is killing people, and it's keeping people sick, and it's keeping them fucked up, and it's keeping them isolated, and that's what stigma does. I mean, it doesn't do anything other than destroy a person, and it
helps perpetuate those cycles.
Absolutely.
Like you were talking about the generational cycles.
Yeah. I mean, how fucking cool. Like, I'm, I broke literally, as far back as I can remember, like 4 generations of addiction and alcoholism. I thus far have been given the ability to do that, but I don't know. Yeah, the whole stigma thing. It's like, whatever. I'm talking about it.
Right. And episode 6 is me.
Ah.
So you'll have to listen to that one.
I love that.
I talk about, because I've gotten a lot of questions, because I dialogue with people during the interview, so little bits and pieces about me come out, and it sounds very confusing, and like I'm really messed up, so which is fine. I'm fucked up. That's fine. Which actually, that's where the name.
To whose definition?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's where the name of the podcast, Broken came from.
Yep.
It was Stephanie struggled with it a lot. She had to go to church and pray about it to feel okay about it.
I love it. I love it.
I think she had to talk to her therapist about it.
Yeah.
Because I was joking about, well, first of all, we're always broke.
Yeah.
Because that's my life, right? But broken was, there was, which I talked about this being in a poly relationship before it ended last year. And she had a tendency, for whatever reason, to drag me into their fights. And I don't know why. I don't know if I came up in their fight, and so she would text me or call me about it. I don't know.
Right.
But she would drag me in there, and that was one of the things she said to me was, "You're just so fucking broken." And I'm like, and at first I'm like, because I'm just in I don't know what the hell happened. It's the middle of the night, and I just got woken up by a series of angry text messages. Right. So I just kind of flipped into, calm down the crazy person mode. And I'm just like, you're right, I am, and whatever, But then after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm not fucking broken.
Right.
I'm just human, and I'm dealing with my shit, and I think you need to too.
Right.
And so that's where the name came from, was, we all feel like we're broken, but we're not. We can still be okay.
Well,
and we've just got to stop hiding it and you know.
Completely. Well, and here's the deal. I mean, every single person, we are all fucked up, right? We just are. Come on. We're all... And that's okay. It's like human experience, right? We're all dealing with shit. We all have shit. We all do shit. Not one of us are exempt from it. I don't care if you're a person of the cloth. I don't care what it is. You're dealing you've got something. I'm convinced every one of us has a demon. Every one of us, and it's like it looks different, feels different, whatever. But I don't know, that broken thing, I'll wear that shit like a badge of honor, right? Yes, I am, but guess what? I'm going to talk about it too.
Exactly.
Right. I'm going to love it enough to heal it, because that's really all I can do. And so sitting in the corner with the lights out, that doesn't do anything, but it sticks me with it, right? Which is more damaging. And so there's tons and tons of healing in, talking about it. It's just, get it out. It's like whether I do affect or touch one person, I don't know, but I'm keeping myself sober today by talking about it, and maybe tomorrow, it's like a daily reprieve for me and people like me. But this shit is all my brokenness. Here it is. Like,
and that's what I say about this. Even if nobody listens to this podcast, I've learned a lot, and I've had a lot of fun, and so it's been it's been amazing. But episode 6 is about me and growing up as a PK and how that's all affected me.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel rather vulnerable.
Yeah.
But it was interesting.
I can't wait to hear that. I'll definitely be tuning in for that, because I've heard bits and pieces of your story before, and I'm intrigued and I want to hear more.
My story is a little different.
Yeah. But that's what makes it
but
beautiful.
That's why I'm different.
It's beautiful of a story, right? That these are, those are the things that made us. All the shit is why we're standing the way that we stand, like, today. And so it's probably why you're doing a podcast too.
Right. This is why I'm putting all my secrets out on the internet, because the world needs to know.
Absolutely. Shit.
You can contact the podcast at brokebrokenpodcast@gmail.com. The Broken Podcast can be found on Twitter at Broke Broken Show, on Instagram and Facebook at Broke Broken Podcast.